The store was crowded, but the only sound Amelia could hear was the clinking of the few coins in her trembling hand. She kept counting them over and over, praying they would be enough. Her baby, Lily, was wrapped in a thin blanket against her chest, quietly whimpering with hunger. The shelves around her were full of things she couldn't afford, but today she needed just one item: baby formula. Amelia had walked 3 miles to get here. Her feet were sore, her eyes swollen from sleepless nights, and her stomach empty for the last 24 hours. But none of that mattered. Lily had to eat. She picked up the smallest can of formula and walked to the counter. Every step felt heavier than the last. People in the line looked tired and stressed, but no one seemed more worn down than Amelia. Behind her stood a tall man in a black coat, scrolling through his phone impatiently. His presence radiated confidence, wealth, and authority, everything she didn't have. His name was Adrian Cole. She didn't know him. She couldn't imagine he was the CEO of one of the country's largest companies, or that her life was about to change because of him. When it was her turn, the cashier scanned the can. $12, the cashier said. Amelia swallowed hard. She slowly placed the coins on the counter, one by one, her hands shaking. $8. $9. $9.50. $10. That was it. The cashier's expression softened, but rules were rules. You're short. Amelia's heart sank. She looked at Lily, whose tiny face was scrunched with discomfort. Please, Amelia whispered. Can you give me a smaller can? A sample. Anything. The cashier shook her head sadly. I'm sorry. Amelia felt the world collapse. Tears filled her eyes. She picked up the few coins, planning to walk out and find another solution, though she had none. But before she could take a step, the CEO behind her spoke. Stop. His voice was deep, firm, and it echoed through the store. Amelia froze. The people in line turned to look. Adrian stepped forward, eyes fixed on the trembling girl. Why didn't you tell me? He asked softly. Why didn't you say you needed help? Amelia blinked, confused and embarrassed. I didn't know I should. He looked at her, then at the baby, then held out his credit card. Ring everything up, he told the cashier. Everything. The cashier repeated. Yes, he said. Everything she needs. Amelia panicked. No, please, no. I don't want charity. I just needed formula. Adrian crouched to her level, his tone gentler. Helping someone isn't charity. It's humanity. And you shouldn't be afraid to ask. Amelia's tears spilled silently. But she still didn't understand why this stranger cared. Adrian bought formula, diapers, baby food, wipes, blankets, far more than she ever imagined. The bags filled an entire shopping cart. People watched in silence, touched by the scene. When they stepped outside, Amelia couldn't hold back anymore. Why did you do that? She whispered. You don't even know me. Adrian took a deep breath, eyes clouding with a memory. Because once, he said, voice cracking slightly, someone helped my mother when she had nothing. I never forgot that moment. And looking at you, carrying your baby, reminds me of her. Amelia looked unsure if she should thank him or apologize. He continued, come on. I'll get you a cab. But as they walked toward the parking lot, Lily suddenly began coughing, sharp, breathless coughs. Amelia panicked. No, 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 not again. Adrian immediately grabbed his phone. I'll drive you. Get in. They rushed to the nearest hospital. Amelia was shaking the entire ride. She explained between sobs that Lily had been sick for days, but she avoided the hospital because she couldn't afford the bills. Adrian clenched the steering wheel. You don't worry about bills. Not anymore. At the hospital, doctors took Lily into emergency care. Amelia sobbed uncontrollably, afraid of losing the only thing she had. Adrian sat beside her, not leaving once. Hours passed. Finally, the doctor returned. Your baby will be okay. She just needed proper nutrition and rest. Amelia collapsed in relief. Adrian placed a hand on her shoulder. You're doing your best, he whispered. But you shouldn't do it alone. Over the next few days, Adrian visited Amelia and Lily every morning. He learned she had been abandoned by her husband, evicted from her apartment, and forced to stay in a shelter. She was jobless, scared, and alone. Come work for me, Adrian said one morning. Not out of pity. Because I see strength in you. And you deserve a life better than this. Amelia hesitated, unsure of accepting such a big offer. But he insisted gently, your little girl deserves stability. Let me help you build it. She agreed. Adrian arranged an apartment, childcare, and a stable job in his company. It wasn't a high position, but it paid enough for Amelia to breathe again. To feel human again. Months passed. Amelia transformed into a confident young woman, and Lily grew healthy and happy. One evening, Adrian visited them with a warm smile. You know, he said, that day in the store, you thought you were alone. But sometimes, the right people just haven't arrived yet. Amelia smiled with tears. You saved us, she whispered. No, Adrian replied gently. You saved yourself. I just held the door open. And Lily, now laughing and healthy, reached out and grabbed his finger. Final message moral. Sometimes the people who look the strongest are the ones holding on by their last coins. And sometimes the person behind you in line becomes the miracle you never expected. Never be afraid to ask for help. And never ignore a chance to help someone.